Hey everybody, this is Chris Gillen to talk about a CIG fast track project to re-envision Biology 115, and this is work in collaboration with Toshi Tsunekagi and Chris Bickford. So we recognize a set of possible barriers to student success in Biology 115. First of all, it serves students with diverse plans and goals. The title of the course is Energy and Living Systems, and it's the first course in the biology majors series, but it also serves majors in neuroscience and environmental studies and biochemistry and molecular biology. Students on the health careers track take Biology 115, and also students simply with interest in biology, perhaps to fulfill a natural science division distribution requirement, take the course. Because it's the first course in biology, many of the students in the course are first semester, first year students, and they, in particular, it means that they're entering the course with a broad range of backgrounds, experiences, and academic skill sets. And so these students, we find ourselves not only talking about biology content and how to think like a biologist, but also helping students succeed in establishing the practices and mindsets that lead to success in college courses. The course organization, the order of topics, and the pedagogy that we've used in the course are also possible barriers to student success, and I'll talk about those a bit more in a moment. And of course, in fall 2020, COVID-19 threw up a whole set of additional challenges for students. And of course, all of these barriers have connections to equity and inclusion. And so I think our mindset was that by addressing these barriers, we can help all the students in the class, but it might particularly help us to broaden participation, to level out the playing field a little bit, and to become a more inclusive course. So we proposed two sets of activities, two approaches. The first is to rearrange the course material. So traditionally, Biology 115 proceeded in a very logical way, from small to big. And so started with chemistry and biomolecules, moved up through cells, and then to organisms, and finally to ecosystems. That approach worked better for some students than others. In particular, students with relatively strong backgrounds in chemistry and biochemistry tended to thrive with that approach, whereas students who were more interested in organismal biology and ecology or had weaker backgrounds in chemistry and biochemistry tend to struggle. And so by beginning with organismal biology, we felt like we could create a class that was more accessible to a broader number of students. Another challenge for students in Biology 115 is there's just so much material. There's a whole lot of content. And although we couldn't completely eliminate that reality, we felt that by really emphasizing a set of core principles, we could help students get a better grasp on that. So the second part was to use pre-class videos to create a partially flipped classroom. So the plan was to create 2 short videos for each class day, to connect them to the reading and in-class work, to make these independent of the course order so that they can be used in future classes in slightly different structured courses that are structured in different ways. And finally, to allow these to reflect the different teaching styles and expertise of the instructors. In fall 2020, Biology 115 was taught in 4 sections, 3 in-person sections, 1 remote section. The assignments in the class were 4 exams and a final, 4 quizzes. There's a creative connection assignment where students were encouraged to reflect on how the course material connected with other parts of their lives, let's say a different course or an extracurricular activity. We did a project in collaboration with the Gund Gallery and the Listening to Trees exhibit there, and we used the Perusall software for reading assignments so that students made annotations and had an active approach to their reading, an active and collaborative approach to reading. The groundwork for this project was really laid before fall 2020. In previous years, we've done some team teaching in the course. For example, one semester when 3 of us were teaching, we each took a week where the content was related to our expertise and taught all 3 sections of that week. And I think the students reported that they enjoyed that team teaching. And I think as instructors, we learned a great deal from seeing each other teach the material. Perusall has been in place. We've been using Perusall in the introductory biology classes for several years now. So that part of the course is well established. And also instructors have been using a variety of active learning strategies in Bio 115 for many years now. So I think we started the semester probably with more questions about how this was going to work than answers. And Toshi and Chris and I met weekly to try to figure out strategies for how to make it work best. Questions we routinely asked included things like which content should be delivered by pre-class video versus in class. And in particular, we thought about topics in chemistry. Chemistry in many ways is the foundation for biology, and starting with organismal biology required us to think about which chemistry topics we needed the students to have some understanding of in order to properly understand the biology. We thought about how the in-class sessions should account for the pre-class videos. One of the things we didn't want to do is just use the pre-class videos to cram more materials into the class, but rather what we wanted to do is allow the class sessions to have more opportunities for active learning, more conversation, more discussion, and therefore a deeper and more complete learning of the material by the students. We also wanted to make sure that the assessment aligned with the new pedagogy, and we needed to think about the total workload to make sure that it was fair and appropriate. If we're going to add 20 minutes of pre-class video, how does that impact the total workload in the class? And then, of course, COVID-19 was continually throwing up new challenges. So this is our planning document, and it shows the topic for each day and the reading, and then the videos that we made for each class. Couple things to point out. One is that the videos sort of came in different flavors. So some of the videos were very much process videos like course mechanics or introduction to Perusall. Some of the videos covered really fundamental topics that we were going to return to again and again throughout the semester, like equilibrium and surface area to volume and redox reactions. Others were more specific, covered more specific content areas like convection and oxygen binding curves, or pressure flow transport, or nitrogen fixation. We took care to distribute the contributions by the 3 instructors across the semester. So for example, in the first week, all 3 of us created a set of videos. And then over the next few weeks, each of us produced a set of videos related to areas of our own content expertise. So I think as we were going through this semester, our reaction to the effects of pre-class videos were really positive. I think we saw the students responding well to them. I think we felt that in general that it allowed us to provide a more welcoming and productive and interactive classroom environment where students could go a little bit deeper and maybe get a better understanding of the material. And hopefully this was pushing Bio 115 into whatever the opposite of a weed out course is. I don't know what that is. A root in course, a grow tall course, a branch wide course. A course that gives students a strong foundation to build upon, whether they're headed towards a biology major or a health professions career or a major in another discipline. And we were happy to see that the post-class evaluation supported that impression that we had. And what I really want to focus on here are these categories. So at the beginning of the semester, we had a number of students who were not sure that they belonged in the class, or even somewhat disagreed whether they belonged in the class. So there's more than 30 students in that category prior to the class, and after the class there's just over 10. So a number of students are moving. This is the opposite of weed out. It's moving towards feeling a sense of belonging. And we saw the same kind of trends for other questions, like whether students feel comfortable asking classmates for help. A lot more in that category before the class than after the class. And same goes for feeling comfortable asking the professor. Again, a lot of students in that category here, very few at the end of the class. And a really important one, I believe I had the ability to be successful in a biology-related career. So at the beginning of the semester, there are a lot of students, like here, almost 15 students strongly disagree with that. By the end of the semester, fewer than 5 students strongly disagree with that. Okay, so a number of students moving towards having more confidence that they can be successful in biology. Now, I don't know, maybe that happens every year in the class, but these are certainly encouraging results about the effect that the approach to the course had on students in fall 2020. The end of the semester of evaluations, we asked a narrative question about the pre-class videos, and the responses were almost unanimously positive. And many students said that the pre-class videos were very or extremely helpful, that they were one of the most important parts of the class. And interestingly, students used these in all different sorts of ways. They used them before class, they used them after class, they used them to help with the perusal reading, they used them to help establish a sense of confidence going into the class. Some students took detailed notes on them. Some viewed them at double speed. Some students paused them all the time to make sure they understood what was being said. The overall sense is that they gave students an ability to kind of control an aspect of the course. And that contrasts with, for example, the in-class synchronous sessions where students don't have as much control over the pace. So one of the Biology 115 themes is the trade-offs that happen in biological systems. And so I want to talk about, sort of in summary, some of the trade-offs that were in play as we worked on this project. An important one is this trade-off between collaboration and autonomy in terms of the instructors. And so I think the collaboration with Toshi and Chris was one of the very best parts of this experience for me, and I learned a lot. I think it was great for the students to see different perspectives and expertise in the class. But we also allowed each other to implement the pre-class videos, to use them in ways that worked best for us, so that the in-class sessions were probably considerably different between the three instructors. We could each play to our strengths and also be responsive to the needs of the students in our classroom. So that kind of balance between collaborating, but also allowing individuals to tailor what they're doing to their own strengths and to their students' needs seems really important. There's also this balance between flexibility and integration. So we generated videos that tried not to be tied specifically to a particular point in the semester or to some exact thing that needed to be done during the in-class session. But at the same time, we tried to make sure that they were connected to the readings and to what was going to follow in class. So getting that balance right seems important. And finally, I think there's a balance between providing students with lots of different resources and opportunities, but also having a little bit of restraint about how much we expect of them, about how long the pre-class videos are, and that sort of thing. So lots of people to thank. For one, this project, as I said earlier, is built upon a lot of hard work by a lot of Bio 115 instructors over a lot of years, and so really draws on the work of the whole Bio 115 instructor team. Obviously, the HHMI Inclusive Excellence Grant for the support, and Erica Farfan and her assessment team for making the assessment work really well.